Take two. Welcome back to another episode of That Pop Culture Pod. Ryan ruined it 45 minutes in. We had to restart 45 minutes in. Ryan, how do you feel?
I'm going to do it again. That's all I got to say, officer.
I am Juan Perez. I'm outside for the first time. I've talked about it a lot. Maybe not on the podcast, so you don't know. And, the side character Hunter's joining me and Ryan as well. So, hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to be guest starring on the podcast,
We're lucky to have you. I'm a union buster, so you're not getting any pay for today.
Yeah, we're recording this on the holiday, and I am not getting holiday pay. I'd like to report this.
It's actually so bad, I'm going to come to your house and take money out of your wallet for letting you on the podcast. How about that?
If everyone would like to help me, we're trying to get it trending. Juan is a union buster. Hashtag Juan is a union buster.
There'll be one tweet that says that.
It's gonna be me.
Well, I was about to say there's gonna be 1,000 tweets. It's gonna be all me.
All me.
200 accounts.
He's gonna download a bot to just keep tweeting it.
You do it infrequently, but sometimes you'll comment on an episode and it'll be like, oh, 3 comments. Let's just cut that. Good girl time. And then it's just Ryan. Ryan 3 times.
Hello.
Love it.
Honestly, I love that for him.
Okay. So, I got a first update. Oh, there's a plane for everybody who can hear it. Oh, actually, it's jet fighters. Maybe they heard that one of the places I reported for having a union, they're going to go blow it up. So, I got to hang out with Hunter. Oh, I had an amazing joke about getting Ryan not hanging out with us yesterday. But anyways, I got to hang out with Hunter yesterday, and Ryan specifically came. So he did not. I mean, he specifically didn't come, so he would not hang out with me. He keeps blaming his friend Ed, our friend Ed. But I asked Ed, and he was like, no, I told him he didn't have to come to this wedding. And he said, no, Juan's going to be at Hunter's. I can't go. I refuse.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I heard that too.
Yeah, It's true. I read it on the Ed Daily blog. I don't know. Cut that shit. It was awful. It's over.
You shouldn't have made it so funny when you said cut it. Now it's staying in.
Fuck no.
Oh my god.
Roll the clip.
No, I wish I could have been there. It was a great wedding. I've known Ed for so long too. There's no way I could have not. But
Ed's amazing.
Whatever. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be seeing the both of you next weekend anyways for Jim Jam's Rager. So
no, I'm going to Ed's second wedding. I'm not going to be there.
Oh yeah, the second wedding. Okay, hold on. Can I say one thing about the wedding?
What's that?
And it was one of the coolest things. So he had it at Canterbury Village, and I'll send you the picture afterwards.
Okay.
But we pull up, and there's monster trucks ripping around in the parking lot.
God,
I was like, did Ed really plan this to have monster trucks in front? No, he didn't. It was just comical timing. It was really funny. Yeah. They also had a bunch of farm animals there, so I pet an alpaca and a goat. Like, after the ceremony. It was pretty awesome.
I was gonna say, you go into the ceremony smelling like a fucking farm.
Basically. I went into the reception smelling like a farm, and then I drank 3 cups of coffee and shit my pants. That's a true story.
That's incredible.
Not about the shit. I did not actually shit my pants, but it's almost there.
I did. Just now.
Yeah.
Unrelated.
Just now. Okay, live on the pod. All right.
We have that's awesome. We have our first podcast musher.
That's fucking so gross. That's rough.
I think. All right, let's start over again. Actually, I think that would be best.
Take 3. Okay.
I was about to say, I'm like, where do we want to start it off with today? I have a few things I want to talk about that are related to, of course, fun. I have one thing about Final Fantasy, but I'm going to make it more where you guys also interact with it instead of me going, oh my god, this Final Fantasy game. I also want to talk about...
Jess is not going to listen to it now.
Yes. Well, I think she will. I also want to talk about depressing pieces of media. I just lost my childhood cat of 17 years ago on Sunday. So, yeah, it sucks. But the dude was unbelievably skinny and was throwing up every single day. It was his time, as much as it sucks. But I do want to talk about a movie, a game, and a TV show, and a book, if you had it, that's made you unbelievably sad or cry. So, those are the two things I want to talk about today.
Okay, hi Jess. Why don't we start with the sad one, since we're talking about sad stuff anyways. I have only one that came to mind super quick.
Mm-hmm.
When Cortana died in Halo 4.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, that bummed me out so bad, because I was playing Halo 1 like in 2001, 2002, like when I was like a little kid. So it's like, this is a character I was used to, because Master Chief doesn't talk a whole lot, believe it or not. So it's like basically like the main point of view you're hearing is like her dialogue throughout all the games, and then she just died. And I was like, well, that's cheeks. What about you guys? What do you guys think?
That makes sense.
Honestly, Attack on Titan is pretty damn sad. A lot of parts of it.
Yeah, when Eren died, that sucked.
Yeah.
A lot of that show is really depressing because it's very Game of Thronesy. Like everyone you like dies pretty much.
True.
And the characters that live don't live well for the most part.
That is true.
Also, Tokyo Ghoul. I'm rereading all the mangas, and that's a pretty sad anime.
That one is
pretty sad manga.
I'd agree.
I like it a lot, but that one is. I like sad shit, so I'm not gonna lie. That's part of why I like it so much. But
TV show. Thank you for bringing that. Well, I know you're reading the manga of it, but like since anime, spoiler alert for something that happened 20 years ago, when Jiraiya died in Naruto, because I'm rewatching Naruto right now. I'm almost at I think episode 80. Shippuden. I'm not watching original Naruto. I'm rewatching Shippuden, and Jiraiya dies soon. When he dies, that was probably one of the saddest things I'd ever seen. I still tear up when that happens.
I got all three of mine laid out right here. So first
off,
Last
of Us?
No Last of Us. I was gonna talk about it, but I've already talked about it before, so there's really nothing like to talk about there.
Okay.
Iron Giant. The end of Iron Giant always makes me choke up. Also, quick credit to Inside Out. The part where Bing Bong dies gets my 28-year-old ass every single time, and I don't know why.
I don't know if I've ever seen Inside Out. Spoiler alert. Thanks.
Good. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is that the one about the emotions?
Yeah. Okay, fantastic movie. One of the best movies that they've come out with in a minute. I think it's great. The second one's okay. For my game, this one's a bit more obscure. I don't think either of you have heard of it, and I don't want to explain why it's sad. I'm just gonna say it. It's a game called Omori, Omori. It looks like a very happy-go-lucky game, and it definitely is. It's a very fun turn-based RPG that has a fantastic story, but the end of it made me cry for about 3 hours. And whenever I hear the song that's played at the end of it, makes me choke up a little bit. Fantastic game. One of the harshest endings to anything I've ran into. And then TV show, Scrubs. The end of Scrubs gets my ass. They end it really well, where like it's JD, he's leaving the hospital, and then there's everyone lined up who was there, who's been in like all of like the seasons. So like, you get to see what there was, and then the end of it is literally just him watching like a slideshow of like what's gonna happen in the future. And then that's it. We don't talk about the season after that.
I didn't know there was another one after he left.
Yes, we don't talk about it.
Okay, we don't talk about it. Well, it's like the same thing with me with The Office. I think that anything after Michael Scott left is just like unwatchable trash.
Yeah. Bingo. They tried to reboot it for a season, and it's really, really, really bad. They don't even have. They only have like 2 of like the original cast members.
Oh yeah, fuck that. All right. I actually have another video game one that really bummed me out. I've never actually finished GTA 4 until last year, and at the wedding, I think it's his like cousin's wedding. His girlfriend gets shot in the middle of the road. Nico's girlfriend gets shot in the middle of the road. That was like a super big bummer because he'd been like trying to get her the whole game, and she was like a decent person. And she get gunned down, and I was like, well, that is absolutely trash. I don't know. I don't know if I really have any movies though. Movies don't tend to reach me very deeply. I will say when Anakin gets burnt to a crisp, that's pretty sad. Like when he falls to the dark side. I do hate that.
I do actually have one that I think, Hunter, you might resonate with. Was Godzilla Minus Zero. Towards the end of it, towards the end of it, it wasn't even like it was a extremely sad movie, but it wasn't even like the sad part. It was genuinely just like the final climactic scene with like where he's flying the plane at Godzilla. That part was just so intense. I was crying. What a fantastic movie.
Yeah, that one is a good one. Also for me, the saddest part, or not the saddest part, but the part that got me the most is like when it kind of like flashes back and shows that like he decided to live. Yeah. Because that movie's a lot about like survivor guilt from the war and everything. So it's like him deciding to live or whatever instead of kamikazing and like completing his original mission or whatever that he ran away from. Like he decided to live for himself and the girl that he was interested in and lived with.
Yeah, so it was just, the culmination of everything of that in that last, like, what, I think it was like 30, it was like a 20-30 minute scene of everything, like, just, like, culminating together at the end, and good lord, it was intense. What a great movie.
Have either of you seen Grave of the Fireflies? That's another, another emotionally tough one.
That is
a lot of Studio Ghibli movies are actually pretty fucking sad. Yeah. But that one was pretty wicked, dude. Because wasn't it the whole time is like a lot of the storyline was like, I can't remember. I haven't seen it in like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years. And I'd only seen it the one time. But wasn't they like kind of dying? And then like a lot of like some of the stuff that they were doing was just like him imagining it as they die.
Yeah, it's World War II. So this is during the bombings of Japan. So the Fireflies are just ashes, for metaphor. So it is I don't want to say too much else about it. It is one of those movies where you just kind of have to sit down and watch it and just kind of brace yourself.
Really good though. I mean, every one except for that 3D one that came out a few years ago with, every single one of them's been really good.
Anyo?
Huh?
Do you mean the Boy and the Heron is the one you're talking about?
No. I like that one too. The one that came out right before that during COVID. It was like, I think it just came out on HBO because of the theaters. It was like the girl that was like a punk. She like wanted to be in the band.
Oh, I got no idea.
Yeah, it was horrible. So don't watch it. But all the rest of them I really, really like.
I'm a big Totoro stan personally.
Agreed.
It's pretty good, but it's definitely one of those more chill ones. Like, you kind of just put it on to put it on, but like some of the other ones, like sometimes you want to put it on to feel something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Howl's Moving Castle is kind of a sad one too. It's happy, but also sad. That one and Totoro are probably my faves. But
I think
Howl's
is my mom's favorite too, because she's watched a bunch of them with me. I think Howl's is her favorite.
Spirited Away also goated.
Yeah, Spirited Away, I watched that. I think that was the first ever Ghibli movie I watched. I watched it with my dad because it came on Adult Swim and we randomly watched it.
Yep. That was my first one too, so it's my favorite for nostalgia purposes, but like that's probably, I mean, like it's like one of the best. But I would say Princess Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle is probably like the best, but Spirited Away is like nostalgia factor. That's why I love it the most.
Yeah. Movies like Spirited Away and Totoro, where it's more about symbolism, it goes right over my head. I love the movies, but I'm not good with understanding symbolism in movies, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I wish I was. I just can't pick up on. Yeah, basically.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A lot of people.
Yeah.
They don't really want to be taught something when they watch something. They just want to enjoy it. You know, like if you want to be taught something, it's usually like a book or a video game or a comic or manga. You know, like when there's like real values, like and you're spending all that time learning it. An hour and a half is really hard for somebody to be like, that was profound. Like, you know, sometimes you just like the cute characters.
I think it's fair to like things just to like things, but I think that most media, even hour-and-a-half media, does have some sort of overarching lesson that they're trying to put in, even if you choose to engage with it or not.
Right. No. Like, 100%. Like, so, like, I'm talking about, you know, like, it's like that, like, there's, like, baseline symbolism, which is, like, you know, like, what is told within, like, the story, and then there's, you know, deeper symbolism, you know, like, that is, like, actually, like, within, like, how they craft the story. You know, like, that's not spoken.
Yeah, for sure. I just think
that's the part that my brain just cannot grasp when it comes down to art in general.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's there for a reason because the person trying to tell it wants to tell a story, and then a lot of people grasp it. But like, I mean, I don't think that there's really like I wouldn't even shame anybody who's just like, yeah, whatever. Like I guess it's deep, but it's not that deep to me, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
because most of them are just so enjoyable. I mean, if we're going back to Studio Ghibli, most of those movies are just so enjoyable if you're not looking for the hidden meaning, but if you're watching them and you appreciate everything about the movie, it's still there for you to discover yourself.
I also think that media resonate differently, like with people. Like, when I think about, you know, like shows, you know, like in terms of like symbolism, you know, like that like resonated with me was a Severance, The Truman Show, both of those were, I feel like I could grasp the entire thing. But they're also both odd workplace things. So
I think a lot of what you understand in anything you experience is based on the experiences you've had in the past. So, like, obviously, if you've never had somebody pass away from sickness, you might not feel the symbolism of a movie where that happens as much as just you're there for the story. To where, like, if you hate your job and you wish you could just go in and punch your boss in the face and have a disco party, you're probably going to feel a little bit more the ones that kind of symbolize in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I think that's part of the difference between good art and media and bad art and media, or not necessarily bad, but worse, is that if somebody can sell you on something that you haven't personally experienced as a situation in which you should have empathy, it's showing that they did a good job creating that media. I think if you can only relate to something because, like, I do think you relate more to specific things that you experience, but if you can only relate to something if you've experienced it, I feel like the media isn't that effective.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree, because like when I was watching Sinners, I honestly felt with the vampires, I'm like, why won't they just join their family? Like, I was mad at the main characters, honestly, at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna, this actually kind of transitions into, like, what I wanted. This kind of transitions into what I wanted to talk about, which is, unlikable characters, kind of like Skylar. God damn it, I lost my fucking transition point. I had a brain fart. Cut this, it's over.
Oh, all right, here, maybe we'll talk about it, and then that'll join you back. My least liked character in any media is that one guy from That Pop Culture Pod. I think his name's like Juan Perez. Horrible. Not a fan. I don't like him. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Love it.
Yeah, we just hate you so much we didn't have to add anything.
It's like you said it perfectly the first time. All right, guys. Well, that's another episode. I'll catch you later.
Thanks for joining us.
God damn, I had a good transition. It sucks.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I guess
anymore.
Not. It's dead. None of this is getting cut. I'm just gonna have to listen to this and cringe really hard.
I love it. I have the biggest smile on my face.
Roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
Just an entire segment of everything he just said that he hated.
God.
That would be so fucking amazing. I bet you could do that. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But anyways, do you at least remember like what points you wanted to hit on with that? Because we can just roll into it.
Yeah. I'm like, I already have the document pulled up. I was like, we were talking about, I forgot. You guys were talking about like characters that like you don't like or something like that, and I was like, oh, it's time. Or no, sympathizing with characters.
Yeah.
Sympathizing with characters, even when. So I kind of wanted to go and talk about Skylar, right? Because like you sympathize with Walt, right? And you understand Skylar's motives. But throughout the show, you still fucking hate Skylar, right?
I don't know. I've never seen it, but I've heard that she's booty cheeks.
I don't really hate her. I think some scenes that she definitely could have been written better, but I actually think she's a pretty tragic character.
No. Yes, she's a tragic character, but she's made out to be the bad person for majority of the show in the narrative. Even though having like good motives, you're still cheering on Walt for the most part.
Okay.
And then it turns at a certain point.
I was gonna say, I feel like how far into it you're cheering on Walt is an interesting part of the show.
Yes,
you know, because
that's
I feel
what I
like
mean.
you hit a point in the show where if you continue to cheer him on, like, okay, what are your moral values?
When he takes the baby, I'm cheering him on. I'm joking.
No, that's the best part, dude.
That's the best part. We've all wanted to do that.
Yeah.
We've all wanted to. He's speaking for the room right now.
I wanted to talk about Final Fantasy, but I wanted to talk about it in a way that's not just me rambling about Final Fantasy. So I'm playing one of my most hated ones, Final Fantasy 13, because I just want to say that I beat it.
Okay.
One of the reasons that I hate it is because of a character that is just extremely whiny, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, I understand their motives, but I don't care, because they whine and they cry so much that I don't care about their motives, I don't care about what they're doing. So essentially, like, the start of Final Fantasy 13 is that a bunch of people are put on this train and they are sent to be purged because they are tainted by some sort of magic. Essentially, during the travel, there's a revolution that happens because people don't want them to be purged.
Awesome.
Hope and his mother are on the train. Hope sees his mother go off to go fight, and she dies. Hope's motivation for like about 20 hours is literally just, I want to kill the leader of this revolution. But all of his dialogue is just him complaining. There's never any sort of like development or anything like this. It's just him complaining like the whole time. So like I'm about like 20 hours in, and he's finally starting like to hit a point where like he's not just complaining. He's actually starting to like elaborate and starting like to understand his trauma, and it's becoming a good game. But I want to like to hear from you guys, like, are there any characters in media, right, that like you can like look at and be like, okay, I understand your motives, but I still hate you.
The Triarchs from Halo. Like, I get why they act the way that they do, misled religion, you know how religion is, blah, 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 blah. Most of the time when the Triarchs are on screen in the video games in Halo, specifically Halo 2, they're just kind of crying. Like, they're just bitching at everybody not doing what they want them to do, even though they literally genocided like 95% of humanity in like a short amount of time. And then they're like knocking on the Arbiter and whatever because they literally met Space Jesus and all this shit. Like, it's just, I think that they would be really cool if they weren't whiny little crybaby pee-pee boys.
Yes, 100%.
I
think that's a really good example.
For me, it's Light Yagami and Eren Jager. I feel
no, that's fantastic. Holy shit.
Those characters are tough for me because like Light, like initially it's just like, okay, you kind of got a good idea, and then it's like one episode in and it's like, okay, you're abusing the shit out of this power.
Yeah, I was
like
about to say,
immediately.
it's like...
And then it's like Eren, the further you get into the show, it's just like, oh, you're a piece of shit.
The more you like
and then
him?
Yeah, and then but by the time you get to like the end of it, and you're just like, oh, you are literally horrible. Yeah, and it's like he's another character that later in the show is also very whiny, in my opinion.
He is
for
a
what
little
he's
whiny.
doing, for what he's doing, especially, it's just like, come on. But alternatively, a character that's whiny and I still like and relate to is Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, because he's a little bit whiny, a lot of bit whiny to be honest. But I feel like he's still a relatable and good character because his story is so tragic.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can be a little bit of a baby.
Well,
I
he
think
kinda
that
gets over it too. So it's
Yeah,
like,
he does. Yeah.
it's
That's
just him
the thing,
growing up.
right?
I mean, you're a
Yeah.
kid, and then you all of a sudden become like your whole way of surviving is murdering people. I could understand. I'd probably be a little
Yeah.
bitchy about it too. I was crying about a microphone before we started. So
That's a
imagine if I had to
perfect-
kill people.
Yeah.
I
Kaneki.
can't relate to that part. I'd be a great ghoul. There's like I could name like 10 people that I would be fine with eating, but
Oh, I have another one since I'm watching. Oh, dude, I got a perfect one, and I know you guys haven't watched it, so this is gonna be like really touching the base with everybody. Andor. I just finished Andor, which I want to talk about when we're done with this. Well, I want to talk about Star Wars stuff in general, without any spoilers. I just want to talk about stuff. But so there's this character. It's kind of like one of the main characters. This lady that I think she's kind of like a love interest for the main character.
mhm.
And well, I know because I watched it, but you guys know what I mean. She's kind of cool in the beginning, and you're like, oh, okay, I get why you act the way you act. I mean, I get it. And then she just becomes like whiny and annoying. And I mean, she was like mentally tortured. So yeah, okay, but how long are you going to ride it? You know what I mean? So she was just like, everybody loves her in the second season. Everybody says that she's like their favorite character. And it's like, she didn't do anything at all. Like, she literally did not do a single thing in the second season except for cry, be useless, and have to be saved. So it's just like, I don't understand the hype behind it. Her name's Bix. For anybody who had watched it and for when you guys watch it, I want to get your guys' opinions because I might be in left field. And from what I've seen, I think I might be because everybody seems to like her. But I also think that shitty characters who are pretty or, muscular for male, attractive men or attractive women, they tend to get cut a lot of slack when their characters fucking suck. Especially when you're dealing with like a nerd community. So I don't understand the hype behind it and I can't stand her at all.
I do think that for a lot of people, there's a level of aesthetics and ethics being related to each other. Like, the more attractive
Yeah.
somebody is, the more you can forgive them when it comes to media, I think is very true.
I mean, look at Last of Us. I don't know if any of you guys look at any of the current hate for the season, but literally it's just because the actor for Ellie her face kind of looks like an egg. But
It
God
does.
damn.
It
that's
does.
not even a joke. That's
does look
literally
like
like
an egg.
90%. It does. It's like 90% of like the criticism, and she's a great actor, but she kind of does look like an egg. But that's like the only criticism I see of it is just like, why'd they hire a fucking egg? I'm like, she's great. Just because you don't like the aesthetic of her acting is still great.
There's like a
So-
lot of obviously a lot of sexism with that too, because you can have the most butt ugly male character in the world. If they do one thing that redeems the character, everybody automatically loves them. But a great actress does a great thing, but she's not pretty enough, or God forbid she's overweight. Most hated character on the show every time.
Yeah, even like last season they had an episode that was like two gay characters, and it was one of like the most downvoted episodes of the season, but it also was one of the only episodes of the season where, God, who's the guy who plays Ron Swanson?
I don't know, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. He won a Emmy for that performance in that episode. Was fantastic. One of the greatest like the greatest
Nick
like
Offerman
episodes
is
in
his
media
name.
I've seen.
Nick
Bingo.
Offerman. Yep.
Nick Offerman gave one of the greatest performances I have seen in a minute. And people hated it because it was gay. It was wild.
We
A lot
must
of
be in different
people-
circles because I'd only ever heard love for that episode. I heard that episode was amazing.
I heard so much I was about to say is I heard so much hate. And I was like, y'all are crazy. Agreed.
There's definitely
it
a
was
lot
so
of
fucking
hate
stupid.
online for it. I didn't hear a lot of people
Yes.
personally saying that they hated it or whatever, but I do think there
Probably
was a lot
people
of
who
hate
didn't see it.
online. That's partially true, probably, to be honest. But
It's usually how it is. People who have never seen it, but they can't stand, whatever person's in that scene, and they're like, oh,
Yeah. people love I don't know, people love bandwagoning opinions too without ever actually like consuming the piece of media. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show, like, the type of person it is. I mean, you typically don't have a personality or any real values of your own if you're like, oh, everybody hates that? Yeah, I hate it too. That's booty. Like, it says a lot about the person, and I always ignore those people in the room. Like, I don't have any interest in talking to them or hearing what they have to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's a question. All right, I got one, since we're talking about media and all that stuff. Have you guys ever been that bandwagon hater? Because I know I have, and I have a very specific example of when I've done it.
I can't think of a time for me personally, to be honest with you, because I tend to form opinions and stick with them when it comes to media, to be honest. There's not too much stuff I've changed my mind really dramatically on. I've definitely heard the general perspective of something and like how much people hate something or whatever, and then watched it and been like, oh, you guys are way off the mark here.
Yeah,
agreed.
that happens more often, I feel like, nowadays.
I was gonna say, I played Veilguard for about 10 hours, and that's kind of how I felt about it, whereas I think it was blown out of proportion on how bad it was.
Yeah, I have a co-worker that played Veilguard, and he's like definitely one of those like crazy conservative people that he would be like, I won't partake in anything woke. But when he played the game, I asked him, I was like, well, how woke is it? Everybody was complaining about how woke the game is. He's like, I have 45 hours in the game and I haven't seen anything woke. I don't know what you mean.
That's what I'm like. That's my argument with like almost like anything like woke is like in a RPG, you probably have to interact in some way to get that sort of woke piece of media. There's only like I think like one thing in there where it's like actually like part of like the character's quest is that you help them go to their parent and come out, and that's the only real woke thing that like I've seen from it, other than like, you know, there's obviously gay relationships, but like there's been gay relationships in Dragon Age since Origins.
That's how BioWare is. BioWare has in every game because that's just a normal thing that, I mean, and it's a fictional world, so obviously the values are going to be completely different. It's a fictional world.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't understand most of the complaints surrounding that, because I'm like, it's still a regular piece of media. It doesn't change that much.
If we want to be blunt here too, I think that a lot of people just say anything that's inclusive is inherently woke. And I think that there's a lot of famous media that people, if it would have came out now, people would have said it was woke. But it was widely accepted as just slightly progressive socially at the time where it came out. And now it's just like anything that includes, like, if your story has a gay person, people will call it woke. And it's like, or this person is just gay. And, like, this person in the story is this way. Or, for a lot of stories, you know, like, it's essential to the character that they are a certain way that they are, because that's what the story is about. And they'll be like, oh, this is woke because the main character is this. And it's like, well, this whole piece of media is all about how this character overcame this specific struggle, and the struggle only existed because they are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I completely agree with you.
So a lot of to be blunt, I think a lot of the time people complain about wokeness is they're being big crybabies who are just mad that not every single person is a straight white guy in the movie, and then the one female character who's the love interest, who's a completely flat character, isn't a big booba white lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and also I think the word just kind of means nothing. And it basically, if you're a conservative, it's just anything you don't like. Honestly, most of the time when stuff's called woke, there's not even like an actual basis for what that means, which means that the word means nothing at all. So it's like it literally does not have any meaning.
The bar for what the word means is definitely ever in flux. You know, they could mean anything because it doesn't mean anything.
All right, so I want to quickly reel back to the bandwagon question. So, do you guys know Bring Me the Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, Hunter? Okay, so I remember when I was like, because I was like this with music for a long time. I'm very snooty tooty with my music, and I've gotten way better about it now. But when I was younger, when I was like a high school metalhead punk, I was like, I will never fucking listen to this band or that band or whatever band. And I just remember I was in like Hot Topic or wherever I was, and I would see like the logos and everything like that, and I'm like, those are so ass. Like I do not like any of their merch. And then people that I didn't like love them, so I'm like, I will never listen to this fucking band. Like I will not. And it's like obviously a lot of my like dickhead friends were like, nah, that shit's whack. I'm not gonna listen to it. I'm like, yeah, dude, totally. Never heard it in my life. As I've gotten older, I heard one song when I was like on shuffle trying to find new bands, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I clicked on it, and it was Bring Me the Horizon. And I was like, oh no. So I went and I listened to like all their albums, and their first album is probably one of the greatest like hardcore metal, like metalcore albums ever made.
Yeah,
probably by far the greatest metalcore album ever made. But then I was right because the rest of the music actually really fucking sucks, and I really, really, really hate the rest of the music.
Yeah,
So I was right with my bandwagon, but the first album is literally the greatest album ever made.
Yeah. Do you know why? Do you know why they stopped doing that?
Is it his voice or something? He couldn't keep doing the voice?
Yeah, that was literally it. It just hurt his throat really bad. So they swapped more into, I don't know, it's techno. I don't know what you call it now.
Some people get
I would say it's just kind of like emo core. Like it's very poppy on the radio, emo core. Like, you know, like they kind of kept the same sound after they changed, but I don't know, like having such an amazing, greasy, nasty metal album and then just making radio music after that, it's just like, that is disgusting to me. I don't get it. I understand that it's like he can't keep doing it, but it really stains the name when it's like the greatest metalcore album ever, and then the rest of the music is literally like a 5 or below. It's just mid.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy how much it tanks.
But yeah, when it comes to music, guys, I used to be very snooty. So that's why. Because like I always, with all other media, I never really had like a complaint to try it before I had any, you know, like I would let people tell me not to like something. It's the same reason, you know, why I loved anime when everybody made fun of anime people. Like when I was a kid. Like I don't care. If I like it, I like it. But man, music, I just used to be so snooty with my music, and I don't know why I was like that.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Was I snooty with League of Legends?
Oh, it depended on which era, because I don't think you were at all, to be honest, when you taught me how to play the game. But there was definitely some points where, and not just you, there'd be a lot of people that I played with that I was definitely not as good as, because they started a lot earlier than me, and it's a very high learning curve game, and they would definitely be kind of jerks. I think it kind of depended on who you were playing with a little bit, because if you remember, I won't name names, one of the original groups that we played with that were a bunch of people who were, at this time I was not good at the game at all, but I was a lot better than the other people, and Ryan was way better than all of us or whatever, and they were miserable to play with, very snooty, even though they weren't good, which makes it even worse, because it's like, when I was playing with people who were like diamond and stuff like that at mod or whatever, and I was like silver, low gold, and I'm like, okay, they have a reason to be a little bit snooty or whatever, but when somebody's worse than you and a huge dick, it's just like, come on, pick a lane.
It's so funny. I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's just I don't want to name names, but it's just like, come on.
No, you're exactly.
If you're gonna check your guys'
that's what I was trying like to think about.
Check your guys' phone. Is that the guy you're talking about? I want to know if I was right.
Yes. Okay, that's very funny. Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
But I would say you weren't bad generally with that. For me, at least, Ryan.
My Yasuo area, I think was bad.
Yeah, a little bit. That was one of the times I was thinking about. But also, I feel like when we played with certain people, it kind of brought out the worst in everyone, and that is not your fault individually.
Yeah,
that's what who you are. Because like we all know who you are.
Because like. I was trying to think about like I was like have I really been snooty with anything? And like I don't know. I've had hobbies, but like I've never really been like I'm better than you.
I am one of those
I don't
people
know.
that has like a natural tendency to think I'm worse at things than I am, even if I'm good at something. And I'm also somebody who I genuinely really enjoy teaching people how to do things, and like I enjoy. One of my favorite things is when I really like something and then somebody else catches the bug And like I love to hype people up when they're getting into things. Ryan has experiences with Magic and Warhammer for sure. And like I love that contagious feeling of like happiness and joy from somebody when they find something that really scratches their itch, you know. So I tend to not be gatekeepy and snooty about things just because I get a lot of joy from sharing things I like with people, especially people I like.
That's how I am too. And you know, that's definitely fostered as I just talk to people more about what I'm, you know, like what I'm really into. Because when I was like in high school, I obviously, when nobody that I was friends with was super into any of my main stuff, like they wouldn't really want to hear about it. But like now, it's like I basically just surround myself, like you guys. I just surround myself with people who are into what I'm into at this point. And obviously, like you can be into all the same things, but then there's still going to be stuff you have experienced that they haven't, and then you can still share that. Like I'm really into that. Like that's why I'm watching Naruto again. Is Dylan, Jess's best man at the wedding? He is never watched Naruto and he's not into watching long animes. And I got him into it, and he finished the first Naruto show in like a month, and he's already, you know, hammering through the second one. So it's like now I have somebody I can just nonstop talk about it with, and it's like I love that. That is like the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that just there's also something to be said about just being around people that even if they don't understand what you're into, that they're happy to listen about it, you know, and like there's things that you guys are interested in that I like to hear about, even if it's not something I would ever personally engage with. And not for a reason that I think it's not good or whatever. It's just I'm a very particular person, and I know that about myself, and there's certain things that I just will know if I'm going to like it or not like it. Not to say that they're good or bad. But I still enjoy hearing my friends get hyped up about stuff, even if it's not something that I will ever engage with in the way that they are.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, so what else do we have to talk about before we sign off for today?
Well, I have one more thing on this same topic because this is just something we talk about a lot. And I do have complaints about it, but there's a lot of people who are so snooty about like the Star Wars prequels, and they never like to mention that the original Star Wars movies also have a lot of like kind of cringy bad dialogue too.
Oh yeah.
And like I feel like one thing that's directly related to what we're talking about is nostalgia. I think a lot of people are, if something is older, it's inherently better because it's been around longer, or because it was good when I was a kid and now it's not good, so they're snooty about things how they are now just because they're different. And like that is something I like, because a lot of people refuse to engage with things that are new just because it's different.
Yeah. I think that actually is like a good example is like yesterday when we were talking about Star Wars. Your dad was like, "Are you watching the original trilogy?" And then, you know, whatever. And he was like, "No." You were like, "No, I'm watching it chronologically." And he was like, "Yeah, but that's not like the way that it came out." But it's like that but it's all the same story. So why would you not watch it in the chronological order if it's all the same story? And like the new, what is it called? The sequel trilogy, the one that came out recently. People obliterate those. I understand why people don't like 8, because I see all of the flaws in 8, and there's not really a whole lot of redeeming factors. But like when your brother was asking about Kylo Ren, like how does everybody feel about Kylo Ren? Because he thinks that he's a little too whiny for his taste, which I get. If you hate whiny characters, that's perfectly fine. But it's like Luke Skywalker is a crybaby little pissy pants until like the last movie.
Yeah, so is
That's very true.
Anakin
like he was screaming at a frog in a forest because he wasn't learning something that people learn their entire lives quick enough. Like everybody forgets
We've all
about Luke
been
because
there.
people don't watch the original trilogy that often. A lot of people go to the sequels. I mean the prequels. And it's like, dude, Luke is literally the most annoying character in all of the movies. And how are you guys, like, you know what I mean? And obviously your brother was not saying that.
No.
Like, he wasn't the example he was hitting on Kylo Ren or anything. But, like, a lot of people do hate the newer movies for that. And it's like, okay, well, go watch the original trilogy. But then they're going to see it through the nostalgia that you're talking about. And they're not going to see Luke as what he is, as a little crybaby pissy pants.
Mm-hmm.
And he really is. The second movie, 5... Dude, he is super annoying in 5.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's very true.
I do understand that nostalgia thing, and it's like I don't get it. Like I remember when episode 9 came out, the one that me and you couldn't see together because you were you were doing, I think, a lot of Magic stuff at the time, and I was in Lansing at school.
Yeah.
So I went and watched it, and then you went and watched it, and we talked about it. And I remember that one's like one of my favorite, like, overall movies is 9, and a lot of people hate that movie. And a lot of people hate it because it's not, it's the newest one. And then when the next trilogy comes out, people are going to go back to the sequel trilogy and be like, oh, wow, these movies are really good. And it's like, why don't we pull up the Facebook post from 10 years ago and see how much you liked it? It's the same movie, you just didn't like it because it was new. I mean, like you said, nostalgia colors everybody's eyes. And I've actually been training myself out of that a little bit because there are a lot of video games and movies and stuff that I've been trying to revisit that I'm like, this is going to be so amazing. I'm so excited. And then it's like, now I'm willing to be a little bit more honest about how it actually is. Like, I will just straight up not partake in something that I used to like because it just doesn't hold up that well. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of video games specifically from my childhood, it's like a lot of them are unplayable. So when they remake them, people are like, well, why don't you go play the original? Well, it's because it came out on the PS1, and we have like 8 more buttons now, and it looks like Dookie. I'd rather just play a better version of a game I know I like. I like the story, so why would I not want the gameplay to match how much I like the story?
Yeah,
agreed.
I understand when people are that way if it's not a true like remaster, if like they remake it and stuff gets changed around or whatever, but if it's literally just a better looking, better playing version of the game, like if you're not playing the original for nostalgia, then like what are you doing?
Yeah,
for real.
Like I understand if
like,
like,
a lot
your
of people
preference
like
is the way that it was when it came out, but at the same time, it's like there's nothing wrong with playing an upgraded version of it. Like I have the original Pikmin games for the GameCube, but I like playing the remaster on my Switch more, partially because it's more convenient, but also it's just like they look better, and that's awesome. It's the same exact game, they just look better.
Yeah,
exactly. No, I feel you, dude.
Oblivion.
I'm 100% with you on that. My thing is this, like, I think a lot of people are just nostalgic about stuff, too, that it honestly just wasn't that good when it happened. It was just new for us in an emerging market that was, like, so new to the world. Like, me and Jess still play our 360 quite often, especially because the new Xbox isn't backwards compatible with a lot of games for some stupid-ass reason. And a lot of people love the PS3 and the 360, and it's like when I turn it on, I remember everything I hate about it. The shitty load times, the shitty fucking controllers that used to break when you looked at them the wrong way. The fucking, just like the graphics are bad. Like if I play a 360 game on my Xbox One, my Series X, it's gonna play way better on my Series X than it's gonna be on a 360. It's like people are nostalgic for that because of multiplayer too, I think. And it's just like, I remember those multiplayer lobbies were kind of booty. Like, I would rather... Oh, here's a great example. Me and Jess just talked about this yesterday. People won't stop crying about how Halo 3 multiplayer is gone forever. You'll never experience it, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I prefer to play Halo 3 on the Master Chief Collection than I ever did on the Halo 3
yeah, for real.
360. And 75% of every game you play on Master Chief Collection is Halo 3. So people literally keep talking about something that's gone that literally exists in a better format than when it did when we were younger. Except now I get to play it without being called racist slurs and telling me, a 12-year-old, how horrible I was at a game that I just bought that day. I like this. I like it a lot more now. I just like stuff more now. We're at that quality of life where I'm happy. Like, if games never looked better than they looked, I'd be happy. As long as the quality of the game is still there. And it's like, you're getting rid of all of the shitty stuff from the past and getting all of the good stuff of the now, and people are just not happy with it.
I will say specifically for Halo, like, I agree that the general multiplayer is way better now, and it is available, but I think a lot of people are nostalgic for that era of custom games in which you could just get 8 or 16 people to jump into a custom games lobby, which is a lot harder to do now.
Agreed.
I think
like impossible
the general
now.
multiplayer is much better. I agree. Like if you're just jumping into like matchmaking games, but that era of like infinite custom games browsers and people playing them, and there's definitely a level of nostalgia to it too. But I do think that is something that is missing.
Well, you can play custom games on Master Chief Collection. People are less nostalgic for the game itself and more nostalgic of who they were playing with and what it was like to come home from school and play Halo all night. Like, you can still play a lot of that stuff now, but I will say it's harder for all of us to play games together compared to if we were in high school. We could probably just hop on and play all day, every day if we weren't hanging out. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely...
So it's like they're nostalgic for that and not for the fact that we could literally still play all those custom games right now on Master Chief. And it'll be way easier because we're not going to be getting disconnected every 10 seconds.
I didn't have that problem when I was playing those games, to be honest, when I was playing Halo 3, the disconnecting all the time. But I think that there is definitely a level of that, but I also think that you're going to have a hard time getting 8 or 16 people for Duck Hunt all the time, every day.
Yeah, that's fair.
And stuff like that. Like, I agree with what you're saying, ultimately. And I do think that there's
I agree with you as well.
Certainly a level of it that is true. But also, I do think that there's a level of it with specifically custom games that you are missing something. And part of it is that I feel like there's less community within games than there used to be when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
To be honest, but again, I generally agree that there's a lot of nostalgia clouding it for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I get that completely.
But
what's that?
Nostalgia sells. It sells pretty well.
I'm buying.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, it's like an unlimited market. Unlimited market.
That's what.
I thought you said smells.
Is that like we're no. We're buying into it. I mean, hell, Oblivion was. It's just a nostalgia buy.
The remaster is definitely
that.
better than it was.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
think
that at all.
I mean, it's essentially the same game other than looking pretty. I still think it's pretty clunky at points, but it just has a fresh coat of paint.
I mean, that's pretty nice. That's kind of what people want.
Yeah, no. I'm not calling that bad. I'm just saying that's what it is.
I mean, it's like 50-50. I would say a lot of people just want to play a game that's like inherently like not good to look at and kind of frustrating.
Sure.
But way better. And then when Bethesda finally gets off, well, not Bethesda, Vizio or whoever the fuck made it, gets off their ass and optimizes the game better, there probably won't be any of those like annoying ass bugs. Because everybody here's the nostalgia factor, is they literally admitted that they kept in all of the funny bugs that people make memes about. They keep in all of the corny ass dialogue. Like they're doing a lot of that stuff instead of re-recording it with a more professional cast. They're keeping it in because it's like people like that. That's the nostalgia, but also video games like that look like Dookie, played like Dookie, load like Dookie. It's not nostalgia that you just want to play a better version of the exact same game. It's just you really like this game and you want to play a better version of it. A lot of the people who playing Oblivion now, they're playing it for the first time, so there's no nostalgia there at all.
Yeah, my neighbor actually was telling me that he got Oblivion and he never got to experience it as a kid, and he has been playing it for all of his free time, was playing the new Oblivion, and he's like, literally said that he wanted to play the old version of it, but he couldn't get into it because of the bad graphics. And I do think that's not that's not my perspective, that like I can't play a game if the graphics aren't good, but I think a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if they didn't grow up gaming when we were younger. Like a lot of people, they maybe did it at a friend's house or every now and again at home, but like somebody who gamed as much as I did when I was younger, if I go back to a game I love, even if it looks like Dookie, as long as it still plays good, which, like stuff like Tony Hawk, blah, 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 all those games, they all play exactly the same as I remember. I don't care how bad a game looks. Like, I also don't mind games like Cult of the Lamb, where it's like 2D, 2.5D. Like, a lot of that stuff doesn't bug me at all, but a lot of people, they would never, ever, ever play that because it's not a multiplayer Call of Duty or it's not a 3D open world game.
Cult of the Lamb is goated.
So good.
But imagine how many people play video games that would never touch it because of the way that it looks when you play it. Like, they just would not do it.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, most Final Fantasy games, that's the issue. Like, anything, like, outside of, like, Final Fantasy X, like, when it hit, like, the PS2, most people don't want to play Final Fantasy VII. That shit looks ugly.
But you probably would because you liked it, right?
I had to get over it. It definitely was not fun to look at for a while, but
yeah, maybe it's because I play a lot of older games like KOTOR, and I was playing the original Oblivion, and I play a lot of original Xbox games. Like, you do get used to it. It's like the same thing like when you're watching anime. I prefer to watch it in Japanese it takes a long time to get used to reading what you're watching and disconnecting it to where it's not affecting the way that you watch it. I mean, everything you're okay with, you had to get used to at some point. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, they don't want to put that time in, whether it's limited time, they're not big gamers, blah, blah, blah. Like, they just don't want to put that time in, which is perfectly fine, I think. But you're going to miss out on some good stuff because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Dark Souls 1's a good example. It looks like Dookie, and it doesn't even play all that amazing, but it's like, I really like it because I don't care about the graphics, and if you can get used to it, whatever, dude. Like, but a lot of people, they'll never play that. They'll play Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, you know, and whatever new ones come out going forward. They'll never go back because then you're taking a step in the wrong direction. A lot of people aren't comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But do you guys have anything else for us today?
Nope. I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good too.
All right. Well, feel free to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube. Definitely feel free to leave us a comment as well so we can bring that up. We didn't do it today, but we'll make sure we catch up on all of that next week. And I think soon me and Hunter are going to have like a Star Wars cast, so look forward to that, guys.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, well, I will catch you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me, my dear friends.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
Sounds good.
Peace out, y'all.